I'm ChosenArchitect, and this is FTB Skies 2. Now, over the last few episodes, we have gotten some basic infrastructure up. I've got the ability to have and farm mystical agriculture crops, and we are starting to produce a ton of resources just from this goofy little setup alone. But there's still a lot this mod pack has outside of just the things we've been working on, like exploring, and I really want to go exploring today, if at all possible. But before we can do that, we are going to need some player power. Do need to address this, which we set up last episode, and there was a lot of pushback. I'm surprised by utilizing this setup. This is a very quick way to handle items. Any setup that we do in the future, the ender chest is where we'll send those items, and the SFN or the factory manager will take them and send them into our storage controller, so that way we can handle large bulk items. Anything else, we can use our actual refined storage system. That's why this external storage is attached to it up top. So yes, we can still use our refined storage to send to here, or bulk send into refined storage. That's not a deal. This is mainly for bulk items that are infinitely generating, like I tried to mention last episode. But there is still something that I do need to mention before we get even further into here, and that is addressing the SFM code that I did use. See, I was under the impression that whenever we do it like this, where we have 20 ticks due, this is going to run every 20 ticks. And then that also means this one will start on 21 ticks and go, but that's actually not how it works. All of these will initiate on the first tick, and then this will go on the 22nd or 21st tick. This will go on the 20th tick. This will go on the 22nd tick, and that will continue to loop. And apparently with this, you will end up getting overlapping ticks. And while honestly that's not a huge deal, it could lead to some peaks in the tick time here. So there is actually a better way to do it, and I thank you guys in the comments for letting me know, because I completely missed this section right here under the tick timers, and I missed the offset. That's what we need to use, and this is what my brain was telling me to do, but I didn't realize we had to use this offset, which everything in here, by the way, is built around itself. And so you have to use the documentation. You can't just like start typing in Lua code in here and building functions on your own. That's just not how it works. So yes, this is what we need. And we could also do the global. The global is going to base our ticks off of our world time, not actually the time that the factory manager has initiated, which it can initiate its own timer as soon as it's placed. This, however, we can just make it global and it'll base it off of our world time, which is not a big deal. So to change this code, it's actually not that difficult. All I have to do is go in here and, for example, 20, I will change the initial to 20G, which is global, shorthand for global. And we can also here do global and then plus to offset the time by 1. And then I need to do this and continue up. This will be 20G to every 20 ticks and then plus 2. And I'm going to do this all the way up to 19. And once all is said and done, it's a set it and forget it. You don't have to worry about it anymore. And you may notice the peak times are probably going to look pretty similar. It's such a minute thing. This is just a single factory manager doing like literally 2 tasks. It's so tiny, but it is something that could help in the future and is going to probably function a little bit better. And we won't have like missing ticks that could sometimes happen. This should now be running literally every tick. So now I hope I did that correctly. And with that out of the way, it's actually time to dive into some power. But we got to figure out what power mod I want to use, specifically for player charging. That's because if I want to go exploring, I am going to need to be able to keep this jetpack charged. And I think there's a couple of options that are easy enough for us to obtain. We have Flux Networks, which does have a way for us to charge ourselves, and it doesn't look too bad. Oh, it costs a nether star. And believe it or not, we could craft a nether star. Like, I do have enough of these nether star shards that you get from the quantum goat to make a full nether star, which is kind of interesting. So we have that. But to be able to get all of this set up, it looks like Eyes of Ender. We also need flux dust. Ooh, there's a reactor chamber recipe for it. That's not too bad. And then what other recipe? Ah, redstone with obsidian dust makes the dust here. And you just need to crush it on top of bedrock. Right. Where do we find bedrock? Hello? Bedrock, are you out there? Yeah, I mean, I whispered into the void and it didn't whisper back, so I assume there's not any for us to find at the moment. I mean, technically, I do know where a source of bedrock should be, but that involves going to the end. Well, we don't really have the ability to go to the end just yet. So yeah, that's out of the picture, so I'm guessing we're going to have to get into Power then. And I mean, it's not that difficult to do, and it's kind of funny. I don't even see Flux Networks mentioned underneath the power section. Like, there's a lot of power options here, which we're going to dive into some of them in a minute. But yeah, I don't even see Flux Networks on here. But Power does have its own huge section. Getting some early player power from the Power mod, honestly not too bad. But if we're going to want it fast enough to keep up with our jetpack, which uses 650 FE per tick, we have to go to a fast enough player transmitter. I mean, we're going to have to at least get to the hardened version to be able to support that power throughput, it looks like. I mean, maybe not, actually. I mean, we could probably get by with the 4000 FE per tick, which is just the basic version. And this is where things get interesting. Now, we can make all of this stuff super easy now, simply because we set up mystical agriculture. We got a mob farm. We can make clay really, really quickly. We have infinite coal, so that's definitely not a problem. And we also have the ability to make blaze rods because we have mystical agriculture. All of this is going to be very, very simple. And we can set up this recipe and we can build that. And I have added more of these. So we have more auto crafters over here of diamond tier. So much crafting potential. And I do recommend auto crafting. Like, if you do not get auto crafting set up for this, you are going to regret it. This mod is a crafting rabbit hole. Yeah, I've done it so many times. Yeah, just get it auto crafted. Everything that you can auto craft it. I mean, the primary components are going to be the rods. You're also going to need the casings. And then later on, we can automate all of these processes, but it's all of these basic little components like the capacitors and stuff like that. Now, getting started with this, one of the harder things to get our hands on is the aerial pearl. So we can go ahead and request some of those missing items. I just hit control to be able to do that. And now we should have everything needed to be able to craft this thing. So this is something you definitely need to grab and have in hand, because we have to go down into our mob farm and we need to click on a zombie. Yeah, which means we do need to access like a hole in the wall here. What would be a good place? I mean, maybe right here. Oh, yeah, that's sort of a problem. But yes, we have to right click a zombie. So, I mean, yeah, and it does have to be a zombie for some reason. All right, there's a zombie. Okay. Okay, and now with the hard part out of the way, let's get these items requested. And then we can just simply craft our first player transmitter. We're almost done, and then we're going to have ourselves some wireless power. But I do want to upgrade this to at least the basic tier. That way we can get that, what, 4000 FE per tick? I mean, that's plenty for right now. Now, the final step to this is getting ourselves a binding card. So we will need a binding card. And if we bind this card to an Enderman, it will also work cross-dimensionally, which I think will be a good idea. I think you can also bind it to an Endermite. I do believe. Yeah, I mean, we can bind it to an Enderman or an Endermite. And getting Endermites is not too bad. We do have Endermen that are spawning down here. But, I mean, if we just take, for example, some of our Ender Pearls and just start spamming it, of course, taking damage everywhere. Yeah, an Endermite has a chance of spawning. That was a really lucky chance. And there we go. Now we have a dimensional card. Now we have a way to send ourselves some power, but we're also going to want like to generate some power. So now I've got to figure out what mod out of all of these mods should I use to generate more power. I mean, this is by far one of the most powerful ways, I think. We might be able to already make a rainbow generator. And we could use a rainbow generator with all of the other generators to generate like 40,000 FE per tick for us. That'd be pretty easy to get up and running. Oh, it's actually more than that. It says right here, we'll generate 50,000 RF per tick if all other furnaces are generating power. Something is telling me to blow it up. No, we shouldn't do that. I mean, I don't know if it's disabled in this pack, but I do remember in other packs, if you were to blow up the rainbow generator and you're not looking at it while it explodes, it will produce a rainbow coal, which is unlimited fuel, by the way. And I mean, it is in here technically. Okay, now hear me out. This would be kind of insane setting this up this early, but I think we have everything needed. We have netherite essence, we have dye essence, we have the ability to make glass. We should be able to easily automate the production of rainbow furnaces at this point. Ooh, I say almost because I don't think we have silver automated. Believe it or not, we don't have silver. Why don't I have silver? We need a silver geode. I mean, I probably have enough silver, possibly. No, how do I get silver? Okay, apparently we get it from just simply using a mesh. I mean, I've really only been using this to farm prosperity shards. So yeah, I removed the void upgrade temporarily. And there we go. We're getting silver chunks. And once we get enough, I'm just going to make another geode, place that up there on the top. And that is going to be more than enough to get us started, I think, for the rainbow furnaces. Also, by the way, while I'm working on getting another silver done, I did go ahead and make grains of infinity essence. Yeah, this makes getting the infinity so much easier. I don't have to jump off the island anymore. It's so good. And so, just like that, I'll have myself a geode. Then I just gotta get this bad boy placed in up here. Yeah, and get it pointed in the right directions. Now, like I was saying earlier, this is just a lot of individual steps for auto crafting. So once you have all of the auto crafting patterns set up and the storage for them, I mean, it's just as simple as clicking one button though. And all of this auto crafting later, there we go. We now have the ability to craft ourselves a rainbow furnace. Now, I do want to try this out because this could actually change how we set up this reactor. Well, I mean, I guess it's a reactor. I mean, it generates 50,000 FE. That's a good starting amount. So now let's just simply craft the actual rainbow furnace. This is the thing, like I said, I mean, this should be very quick. Like, it should be done very fast. Assuming that it uses itself and it doesn't, like, get stuck or anything. There it goes. It's already done. I didn't even have time to come over here and check out the crafting manager. Okay, so the rainbow generator is done. Now I've got to do the unthinkable. I've got to grab TNT. Let's get a button. And then rainbow. Yeah, okay. So, beautiful. We have this. And what I want to do is blow it up. This may sound crazy, but I want to try this out. I want to see if this works. And I want to see if it's unlimited. Okay, now hear me out. You may think that I'm absolutely crazy on this, but I'm almost positive that if I was to blow this up and I look at it while it explodes, it will not drop the actual rainbow coal. This has been my experience with it. So yeah, if you blow it up and you are looking at it, it will not actually drop. So I'm going to not look at it, but I'm going to turn around. And did it generate it? It did not. Interesting. So it just dropped the rainbow coal, or sorry, the rainbow furnace itself. Maybe it is disabled in this pack. And this is something that I really wanted to test because this is an unlimited fuel source if we were to have gotten our hands on rainbow coal. I mean, it's always worth a test. I kind of want to test it again, honestly. Okay, look away. Don't look at it at all. And then, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's disabled. Probably for good reason. And that is why you test. You never know until you test, right? Like, how else am I supposed to know if you can get rainbow coal or not? I mean, it doesn't have a tooltip or anything. So yeah, I just would assume that it's disabled. If you guys know more about it, of course, you can always let me know down in the comments. Now let's look back at that rainbow furnace. Okay, so it says it will generate 50,000 FE per tick if all other furnaces are generating power. And then there's more detail here. It says for power generation, it says one of each tier of furnace must be an active generator and not have a full buffer, which means we have to void the power or use it or store it or something. Like we have to create some sort of power network with it. So we have to make sure we're draining it. And it says output energy to the side that is configured as out. It says it won't add energy to the internal buffer. Interesting. And then it also goes on to mention that you can only have one of these set up. So there is something tracking like whoever placed it most likely. And I think I kind of understand the other part where it basically says wherever you set the output for the power is where the power that the rainbow generator generates is going to go, and it doesn't actually store it in its buffer apparently. I mean, I've only used this one other time, and it was a long time ago when I set one of these up. So I don't even know if things have changed or not. And like, does this one, if it's running and its buffer's full, does it count? What about this one? Like, what if I use these generators elsewhere? Like, is this going to bork the stuff, or does it just look at the ones that are nearby? I have no idea. So now I guess I should just go ahead and get these blocks placed in. So I'm going to lay these out. There are 9 individual furnaces. So this will kind of work out nicely. We'll have like kind of a setup like this. Let's kind of push this back one. There we go. Where we're just going to surround a central block. And the central block is where I'm going to put the rainbow furnace. So we're going to get all of the basic furnaces all placed in. There we go. That should be all of them. And then the rainbow furnace will inevitably go in the center. Now, we do have to get all of the upgrades in here, though. And so I'm thinking what we could do is just do like efficiency upgrades so it doesn't burn through the fuel as fast. And these generators don't generate as much power, so it makes the fuel last longer. Because the main power we want is going to be the 50,000 that this generates. And I mean, this is where the logistics can get kind of complicated, because we are going to have to make sure we void that power or get rid of any excess power that we're not using. It does add a little bit of complexity here, and we need to know what mods can actually send power like that, because not every mod distributes power like first come first serve, or in this case, like whatever interacts with it first. I'm gonna just go ahead, get these all converted. There we go. So I'm adding the blasting augment, and I don't know if this one has to have it. Like, I don't even know if this one requires fuel, honestly. So we'll test it out. I'm gonna put all of the upgrades, the power upgrades, and then we also have, like, this one definitely needs the generator augment, I believe. And then the efficiency in here. So first and foremost, I'm going to put all of this in here. These buffers are going to fill up pretty quick, so I've got to be pretty fast at getting them in here just to test. And that's the last one. And I think when we see these particles, that means that this is technically generating the 50,000, but it is generating it off of the side. So we could put something on top and we can have this output. You can see it is going there. We can have, I guess, the output be the top, and I'm assuming it needs to be the purple, right? So yeah, there we go. Fuel eject, right? No, that's the fuel slot. So I guess it's just regular output, right? Orange, which will output to the top there. I mean, a quick way we can see if there is power, it instantly filled up this universal cable. So yeah, I'm gonna say this is generating power. Now we've just got to figure out how do we keep these buffers empty? Now, we could just void all of the power that these generators are generating, but I think that would be super wasteful when we could potentially utilize it. You can see there's already a buffer filled, so this has stopped producing that power. So what I could do is I could set up like a battery that stores the power somewhere, and then after the battery, it ends up going into the trash can. But we have to have a mod that allows us to do like a send to the closest inventory, or send to the closest machine first, then send to the other one. We have to have a cable that can do that. And one that I do know that can do it is the pipes mod. Of course, Flux Networks has a really powerful setup as well. If it wasn't so janky to get the Flux Networks up and running, I'd probably use that. It'd be the easiest. You just slap it on the back and you're good to go. We also have to get some cabling over here, probably from Refined Storage, that auto feeds diamonds into this too. Okay, so if I'm going to be sending all of that around, I need also a power source. So, I mean, we could, I guess, do more power. That way we could use these gates to transfer power around our base more efficiently. To be able to use this, we are going to need an ender cell and an energy cell, or an ender cell and a battery. And we could store it inside of the ender cell. Now, if we're going to do Flux Networks and be able to actually make the ender cell, that is going to mean we are going to need the energizing orb, at least somewhat set up. So like some basic energizing orb stuff is going to be needed. As far as shipping the items in here, though, real quick, we just need to send out diamonds, and we'll have those popping out of here before we know it. Why is diamond not showing up first? Wait, what? There it is. I thought I was going crazy for a moment. So yeah, I'm going to fill this barrel very simply, and this is going to save power on our refined storage network. And I'm just going to use a pipe, a single pipe from the pipes mod, to just route these items around. And this mainly because for the items, it doesn't need to be that fast. Like, we just need to send the items in, all here into the center. And we can use like a round robin mode to get this done. So we use our wrench, click that on the center, like so. And then diamond or gold, I think gold also gives you the round robin. Just set it to round robin. This is going to automatically pull the diamonds out, send them into the furnaces. Well, so long as our furnaces are configured properly. Yep, we have to go in here on each of these and make sure the fuel slot is set to the bottom. And with that, there we go. And also, while I'm in here, since we're going to be pulling the power out of the back of these, I mean, I should probably also make sure the power output is set to the back. So you can hold shift to clear this entirely. So we can set the input there, and then we can set the output to the back. I tell you what, this episode has definitely divulged into some craziness. I am going to just tap into these generators right here. And I did also set the output for all of them to the top, because I think instead of the back, I'm going to handle the top. But there we go. We have some rods that are connected to an energizing orb. And just to get some basic power up and running, I mean, I want to use a basic generator at least to get going so we can get ourselves some nice wireless power. And that means I need a tiny one of the capacitors, I need a dielectric casing, and an eye vendor to make an energy core inside of this thing. And this is something that you can definitely do by hand without doing any kind of auto crafting. You can see that's going in there, it's charging up, and then we get a product. Pretty boring if I do say so. I mean, then once we get it automated, we'll never see it again. So now it's at this point, I'm really starting to question my my decisions here. I probably should have just tried to make the flex networks. I mean, I think I will still do flex networks in the future, but this is kind of a cool use of the power cables in the first place. So I still want to get this up and running. They look good. It's going to be great early game, but man, it is quite the grind getting through the power mod. I mean, there's some things that can help, like for example, this little redstone setup right here that allows you to keep 2 of these items in. And you can see that it is producing that. So because this has to be limited. So this is just like a simple vanilla thing that I've always used to kind of get started with this quickly. What is going on? But yes, I do need some energized steel. After the energized steel, I'm also going to need to probably go into the blaze. I think at least getting to the blaze tier is good. And also, just in case you are wondering, the simple redstone for an individual item, for example, locking a hopper with a blaze rod, it is literally just this. A comparator goes into a repeater, and then you just continue that into the hopper to lock it. And yeah, this will also work. This is pretty straightforward for getting up and running pretty quickly with this mod. You know what? Getting a pretty large capacity is not too bad. Like, we are going to need to swap this out for emeralds. So this is going to finish up, and then I'm just simply going to put 4 emeralds in here. It's going to take a little bit longer to do these emeralds, but it's going to be so worth it because the throughput on the ender cell is going to be 100,000 FE, which means it can also handle the input power of this rainbow furnace. And beautiful. Perfect. So we have the 4 spirited crystals, and this will allow us to make a higher tier ender cell, which is definitely worth it. Like, this thing doesn't require any of the prior crafts, so you can just make it straight from this one. Unfortunately, we can't do this tier because it does require significantly more to get set up, but it would have been nice to have started there, but I don't want to waste my nether star on this. So now, after crafting the ender cell, we've got to worry about, well, how we're going to actually get power into it. And we can send very simply these 1 million FE batteries into this, and that will actually fill its buffer and give it at least an initial buffer. So yeah, we can auto craft batteries. I think that is going to be one of the cheapest forms of getting started here. So we'll throw that in, and then let's just craft a few batteries. Let's just craft 10 batteries. I think that would be enough, right? So 10 of those will all get crafted up, and you'll see they'll all stack individually in our inventory. But the cool thing is if we place this back here, we can pop into here and we can shift right click them all in. So now we have a buffer of 10 million FE, which is a lot of power, by the way. Well, early on, that is. But now here's the interesting part. So inside of here, we want to make sure that we are not sending this power into the trash can. So the direction I place it is probably going to determine all of the faces. So we want probably all of the faces to be turned off for now, except for the side that we're going to be, or sides are going to be inputting to. So I know we're going to input from the west side, I believe. These are directional. Okay. So this is the west side, the side I'm facing right here. We definitely don't want to be sending power to the west side. Okay. So west side, we'll make sure that is off. And that means that we need the south and north. So south face, if I find that, south, there we go. We'll set that to in, out, or receive. Actually, this is just going to be receive because these are not going to be expelling power. And then we want the north to be receive as well. So now we should be able to accept power on this side and accept power on this side. And then what we want is we want our cables to then expel the energy. After it's tried to put it into the cell, we want it to send any other energy into the trash can. This is going to be kind of hard to see because of the buffer, but what I can do is I can go ahead and get rid of these for right now. And I'm going to place all of my cables in. These are going to run down into here. This should be fine, having it run just like that. Making sure they're all connected up to the system. And then what I want is it to route like this. So we're going to have that going in, and then the next route is going to be over here. And we can use our wrench to technically disconnect these sections. We don't want them connected to anything else. We just want to make sure that this is a thing that it can send to first, and then whatever's left over can go here. Now, what actually makes this possible is using the gold or higher upgrade inside of here. So if we place the gold upgrade in here, we get a mode that is distribute round robin by default. What we actually want is nearest first. So this is going to pull the power out, and it's going to send it into here first. After this is full, if there's nowhere else for it to go into here, this will be the next container it's going to try and send power to. Or at least that's how it should work. And yeah, you're only gonna be able to get this done by doing it this way. There's also another option too, which is kind of interesting. Furthest first. So this one, if with a furthest first set, it should actually be voiding. It shouldn't actually be sending any power. We can test this out by setting that to furthest first. This shouldn't be increasing anymore. Shouldn't be increasing. Oh, it is going to increase because these are technically extracting at the moment. But if I take all of these off, we shouldn't see any more power going up because all of the power currently is being voided because of us setting this to furthest first. So yeah, pretty neat. And I didn't really think about this until this pack. So I'm definitely going to use this knowledge in the future. This could have helped me in other packs. And unfortunately, that's one thing that the Power mod is sort of lacking is like network priority. It doesn't really have like a great priority system. Flux Networks is fantastic and is like really easy to understand. But yeah, I wanted to show a manual method before we get into Flux Networks, which we will get into eventually. And it would really have simplified this. You wouldn't need as many cables, but yeah, I don't know. This was a pretty neat thing to experiment with, and that's what I like doing with mod packs sometimes. Now, don't get me wrong, the pipes mod isn't the only one that has network priority. There are several others. For example, Laser IO is one great example that also has like a priority system for power sending. And I'm almost positive XNet definitely has an option for that as well. And there's probably others that I'm completely missing as well. Let me know down in the comments below what other mods have network priority for power systems, because I think Mekanisms doesn't really handle it the same way either. Like, I don't even think Mekanisms could do this, but I could be wrong. Now, this right here is exactly what I'm looking for. Okay, so this is completely filled up. So that means the rest of the power should be voiding because we have to keep this generating 50,000 FE per tick. And we shouldn't see any buffers build up. And if so long as we are providing this with diamonds, this should stay burning constantly. And I mean, our diamond generation is that bad boy right over there. And it's probably more than enough to keep up, especially those efficiency upgrades. Doesn't burn the diamonds as fast. It's super slow burning. I mean, that hasn't even budged. Wow. I mean, these generators are going to burn through it a bit faster, I think. maybe not. Like that is not even budging. That is so slow. Now, one of the downsides to using the energy pipe, for example, on the Rainbow is the fact that these do not carry enough power throughput. So when these are max upgraded, at least in this pack, because I don't think you can make the netherite upgrades. Yeah, I think those are actually disabled for some reason for the pipes mod. Yeah, so without the netherite upgrades, these can only transfer like 32,000 FE per tick, which is not going to be enough to carry the power through here, but we could just easily use like universal cables. And the cool thing is if you just use regular universal cables, the power is going to dramatically increase. So this is all network based. So the larger you make the network, the bigger this is going, like the bigger the buffer is going to be for the power. So like this is 16,000 and it'll continue on, but we can just upgrade these directly. So I'm just going to place this on here. I think the control circuit's upgraded. No, we need alloy. Yes, that's right. Yes. So regular infused alloy, we just right click that on there and perfect. This has now upgraded. And the advanced cables, I mean, they hold significantly more power. So yes, this can transport, I think just on a single cable, 51,000. So like, I'm pretty sure this kind of adds to it every time you place a cable. So yeah, this can carry a ton of power. And just to make sure all that power goes into this intercell, there we go. So we shouldn't lose any power at the moment. I'm pretty sure all of these are going to be being voided, but altogether, this technically has a sort of bandwidth, I guess you could say. I don't even know if that's the right word for it. I mean, it's 50,000 plus however much these are generating, which I really don't know exactly. I'd say it's probably somewhere close to like 52,000 FE per tick, give or take. And then I also want to make sure that I have the top set to receive. And there we go. Beautiful. Now this power doesn't have to be voided, which is kind of nice. But there we go. We noticed how fast that filled this cable. We are now generating a ton of power. Oh yeah, and remember how earlier we made the player transmitter and the binding cards so we could have some wireless flight? Yeah, we can definitely upgrade that. There's no problem there. And we could probably even upgrade to the next tier. Yep, that's going to be fine as well. Oh boy. And I mean, blazing tier is beautiful. I mean, that's great. And I can even use all of this power right now to speed this up even faster. Now, while I'm working on a few more of the rods, so that way I can make the gates that allow me to utilize this intercell, I mean, we can go ahead and place in our transmitter. I can put this pretty much anywhere in the world. So I'm thinking, can I place it right here? No, it's like in a weird position. We could probably place it right on top here though. Yeah, that's gonna be fine, right? Yeah, look at that. Okay, so in here, this is going to also build up. It has a buffer. But what we want is we want to link this to ourselves. So we have to right click the card, place this in, and we should now have full player charging, including our curio slots, which you can now see my jetpack is refilling. Gone are the days of range anxiety. So now I can go exploring. Now, after doing all of that, I have myself some of these blaze gates. And I tell you what, blaze gates are really, really nice. There's not a lot of things that will go over the throughput that this has, but we got to keep in mind that we can only use so many of these gates at max capacity, because we are also limited by this spirited cells throughput. Like I said, this will disappear whenever we get into Flux networks, but I mean, it is kind of a nice thing to have, and even use this with Flux networks. Like, these are really, really clean looking. I mean, you just can't get away from this. Like, this is great. If we take a look at this, and I go ahead and I remove this, and I get rid of this, if we just place this blaze gate on here, it's just so tiny. Like, and it looks so good. And it is sending 20,000 FE per tick to this controller. Well, it's sending whatever it can receive at the moment, but up to 20,000. I don't know. To me, all of that work that I just did, it feels kind of worth it for this look. Now I just get to clean up my mess and make this look a whole lot nicer. I can even use one of the gates on here to make sure we have at least 20,000 going into this. To clean this up even more. And my goal in the future is to automate this orb with refined storage very, very soon. But that is going to be something we do a bit later, especially when we start needing more power, because this is going to provide us power for quite a while. So you know what? I think this is not too bad. Range anxiety is gone. We can now go exploring in next episode and possibly dabble a little bit in Ars Nouveau. And we now have power that should be sustainable for quite a while. This is fantastic. Like, we can now fly around freely, and I don't have to worry about my battery going down. Wait, I mean, it is going down, but I think as soon as I land, no, it refills once it gets to a certain point. Yeah, perfect. You can see there on the left. This is great. Oh, I can now fly around. I can build a whole lot easier. I don't have to worry about recharging over and over again. This is going to be great. I think the primary thing is just worrying about getting more equipped and making sure our armor can sustain us, maybe get some enchants going and things like that. Some magic stuff here soon. Oh man, I'm excited. And I hope you guys are excited too. And let me know, do you enjoy videos like these where like I explain things more in depth and I go over like, I don't know, interesting concepts, not just maybe doing things the best quote unquote way? I don't know. I would love to hear from you guys in the comments below. Is this something that you enjoy? And if it is, like I said, leave a comment. I'd appreciate it. And also click that subscribe button if you haven't already, and give this video, guys, a huge thumbs up. And with that, it's now time for me to thank the amazing supporter of today's episode. And that amazing thanks is going to go out to, when will I spell things right? Nifty Wolfie. Thank you so much for your amazing support. And of course, choosing to support me over on the Discord by becoming a Discord premium member and just supporting my content in one of the best ways possible. And guys, with that, I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. And as always, thanks for watching.